Now, the cliff walk's open this summer. There's a great 1 mile stretch that's open, and I think that we've got a responsibility to try to reimagine how we can promote that cliff walk experience. The reality is people will spend a shorter amount of time on the cliff walk this summer, but they should be able to spend a longer amount of time downtown, the shops, the restaurants, the attractions, and the mansions. So that should work in our favor. You know, when it comes to the repair work, I think one of the things we should consider is putting a sign at Oak Point. We should promote the project. We should talk about how we're going to restore it and keep that iconic destination something that's attractive for everyone. You know, it should also illustrate the partnership that we've got in the community with, you know, the local, city, state agencies, as well as the organizations that want to support it. And I think if you were a tourist and you came to town and you walked on a 1 mile stretch, and you saw this sign about what we're going to do to take care of the cliff walk, I think you'd be excited. I think you'd think to yourself, I'm going to come back here next summer, I'm going to check it out. So, you know, on behalf of Clean Ocean Access, I just want to thank you. We're committed to working with everyone to make the cliff walk repair as best as possible. So, I mean, it's our community, it's our coastline, so you know, working together, we can make amazing things happen. So, thanks again.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
High School in 1972. For my whole life, I've enjoyed the many splendors of the cliff walk, the swimming, picnic game, hiking, surfing, diving, and spearfishing. From that perspective, I am very concerned about resources the cliff walk offers me that other members of the public may be irrevocably lost due to this planned repair work. As an environmental planner at Newark, I work every day conducting analysis, assuring the Navy, as the federal agency is in compliance with all federal, state, and local environmental laws and regulations through the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA process. Underneath are all major federal actions either carried out, funded, or permitted by the federal agency are required to undergo a rigorous analysis of potential environmental effects and consider a number of reasonable alternatives to attain the objectives of the action. On the state level, activities such as this are required to be consistent with the enforceable policies of the Rhode Island Coastal Resource Management Plan. In this case, however, it appears the federal disaster relief funds are being used for the repair work. As such, the repair may be exempt from the NEPA process, and that raises the specter that a number of environmental regulations and resultant environmental impacts may be overlooked. For example, such regulations as the Magnuson-Stevenson Act, which prohibits the destruction and adverse impact to essential fish habitat. Off the cliff walk, there's a lot of rocky reef, or what is otherwise known as hard-bottom habitat. This habitat is important for the viability of many fish species, including commercially important species. Hard-bottom habitat is considered essential fish habitat and is protected, and any activity that may affect it requires consultation with the National Marine Fisheries Service. Will this be considered by Rhode Island DOT when planning this repair and effecting the repair? We must protect this habitat and ensure that the repair work does not destroy or adversely affect it. Regulations protecting historical and cultural areas may also be overlooked. Typically, consultation with the State Historic Preservation Office, or in some cases the National Park Service, is required to ensure that historical and the cultural nature of an area is not compromised. Will this be considered by the Rhode Island DOT? Cliff Walk, without a doubt, is a historical and cultural area whose integrity must be maintained. Under the Rhode Island Coastal Resource Management Plan, this repair project may be permitted as an emergency ascent. Typically, a project such as this would be required to submit a coastal consistency determination. That would demonstrate to the Coastal Resource Management Council that it is consistent with the enforceable policies of the Coastal Resource Management Program. Under this program, the project proponents would have to demonstrate, among other things, that the activity would not result in significant impacts on erosion or deposition processes along the shore of tidal waters, would not result in significant impacts on the abundance or diversity of plant or animal life, would not reasonably interfere with or impair existing public access to or use of tidal waters or the shore, would not result in significant impacts to water circulation, flushing, turbidity, and sedimentation. There will be no significant deterioration to the quality of the water in the immediate vicinity vicinity as defined by the Department of Environmental Management. Alteration of the activity runoff will result in significant impacts to areas of historical or archaeological significance. The alteration will not result in significant impacts to water-dependent uses activities such as recreational boating, fishing, swimming, navigation, or commerce, or swimming.
What's that? Did you finish up? Did you time it up?
We as the public must ensure that these regulations and policies are considered, not overlooked because the project is deemed as an emergency because of damage resulting from a hurricane. Cliff Walk is a true dam, an economic asset to the city of Newport, a tremendous recreational, cultural, and scenic resource to its citizens and visitors, and important ecologically to the marine habitat of biological.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Sorry, that's all in person. Anyway, my name is Save Ruggles. Hey. My name is Dave Livingston. I was born and raised in Newport. I've enjoyed surfing, diving, snorkeling, and spearfishing from the waters from First Beach to Marine Avenue for 6 decades. I was in the same building over 40 years ago to express my opinion in support of the legalization of surfing off the cliff wall. I've been surfing the Save Ruggles since the day it was legalized, and not one day before. Many surfers in this room share my story. It is one that we hope our children and future generations also will share. At this time, we feel the natural resources and beauty that are threatened by at least one of the proposed projects to make Cliff Walk more protected from future storms. The temporary jetties and extensive use of armor stones are unnecessary, as well as a waste, in my opinion, of time and money. I walked the area from Ruggles Avenue to Marine Avenue today, and the seawall, walking path, and natural shoreline is virtually no worse for wear in that very area where most of this work seems to be centered. There is damage to about 10 to 12 feet of the walkway, but that's it. This is probably due, and that could possibly be due to runoff, poor construction of that walkway, and the hurricane getting it on top of that small section to have factored together in fruition. The seawall has done quite well for many decades, and some enhancement to it would be fine, just not to the degree being recommended. We will continue to get storms several times per year that could damage the walkway, but 90% of the time, they don't. A $7 million gamble is simply not worth the money and would cause both short and long-term harm to the sea life, and could actually backfire and cause the waves to go somewhere nature never intended. A fix-as-you-go approach, like Marty just mentioned, is much less costly, more environmentally friendly, and a win-win for tourists, taxpayers, fishermen, and surfers. The proposed preventative measures will hurt our natural ecosystem and with absolutely no guarantee that it will even work. Something I didn't write down and just I thought I would bring up is the petition that was put online. We got over 6,000 signatures all around the world from, I believe, 49 states, except for South Carolina for some reason. And how many countries?
5 continents.
5 continents. So we're getting support from all around the world, and people that grew up surfing when I did that have moved to other areas of the world are all, you know, chiming in on this, and we hear about it every day online and Facebook and so forth, and people are concerned everywhere.
Thank you, Mr. Wood.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank the council for the resolution. We really do appreciate the support of the council. I would like to propose an amendment to the resolution, and I gave a number of copies to the city clerk earlier. Do all of you have that amendment? Do I need to read it?
You can read it, but we've already adopted it. We'd like to hear your words. We've already adopted the resolution. We'd love to hear your words.
All right, so I'll read the amendment and then I'll read a brief justification for it. So, as amended, resolved, the City Council of Newport calls on the Rhode Island Department of Transportation and the Coastal Resource Management Council to work toward achieving a timely flip-flop repair and rehabilitation plan that will, to the greatest extent possible, cause in its implementation no destruction to or have any long-term adverse impact on the ecology and integrity of the adjacent marine and coastal habitats, and that gives all due consideration to recreational, historical, and cultural resources, public access to the shoreline, and the policies of the Rhode Island Coastal Resources Management Plan. The City Council further urges Rhode Island Department of Transportation and Coastal Resources Management Council to design and approve a cliff walk plan that will, to the greatest extent possible, maintain public access from the land to the surf breaks located at the end of Ruggles Avenue and allow for surfing at that site throughout